Good morning, everyone. It is 5:23 a.m. I have the Neumann NDH 20 on my head at 5:24 a.m. plugged into the RME ADI2 DAC, and I have to say this is a very nice combination, the ADI and the 20s. For some reason, it's very smooth, and I love the ADI2. I think it's a fantastic DAC, and the amplification that's built into it is very, very good. It's not the most powerful, but it's something unique, and it's something we'll get into eventually. So here's the thing. The title of this video is the Neumann NDH 20 versus ... question mark. For all of you who can't read, which is none. So here's the thing. We know that we are going to do a comparison between the 20s and the Mr. Speaker's Ether C Flow. That has to be done because Mr. Zeos threw down the gauntlet and he made a decision. And so we have to see if he's correct or not. But beyond that, we also have to do some additional testing. As I said before, my headphone preference is for listening pleasure, not for monitoring or mixing. Consequently, I think all of my headphones are geared towards that, towards providing listening pleasure. And I was sitting around and just thinking to myself, well, what would be a fair comparison with the NDH20 other than the Ethers? Well, I have the Ether 2s, but that's open back, and that the price is, absolutely outrageous. So you can't compare this to the 20s. I have the Shure SRH 1840, but that's open back, and so it's not the same comparison. I have the Monoprice Monolith M1060 closed, but that's a fairly large headphone, and I wouldn't say it's neutral. It's not a neutral signature. So I was just sitting around going, I don't really have neutral headphones. And I have a bunch of cheaper Sennheisers. I have the 6XX. I have the 660. Those aren't cheap, but I have the 660S. I have the 579. I have the 569. So we could do that, but that's still not particularly neutral. One of my subscribers had requested that I buy a particular pair of headphones, and he wanted me to buy it and then compare it to the Neumanns. And I looked at the headphones, and I said, yeah, and I told him, look, it's not something I'm interested in. It's not my flavor of headphones. It's not the type that I would listen to for pleasure. But if we're going to do a fair comparison, I guess we should really just do a fair comparison. Now, here's the thing. Here's how it comes down to. The headphone that this subscriber recommended is the Atom Audio SP5, and I've looked into it, and these are very expensive headphones, $500. I'm going to try to find them at a reasonable price. But these are supposed to be for mastering, for mixing. And if you know anything about Atom Audio, they make fabulous speakers, just phenomenal speakers. This is their only headphone that I know of. Why they call it the SP5 if it's the only headphone on their website is beyond me. Should it be the SP1? I don't know. So this is one option. The next option is the SRH 1540 from Shure. And this is also a closed back. Zeos has done a review of the 1540. I watched it when it first came out, and I have no intention of watching it again. I don't really care about Zeos' particular opinions anymore. But he did say that these are boring sounding. Well, boring, not boring, doesn't really matter. I have to tell you that the Neumanns aren't particularly exciting sounding, so there you go. I can get the 1540s for significantly cheaper than the marked price of $500. Then, if you go to Shure's website, and you search for closed back headphones, you get these. The problem is when I go to their webpage and look at 1540s, it doesn't sound like they're marketing the 1540s as a neutral headphone. So we're going to have to, at some point, decide if it is a neutral headphone or it's not a neutral headphone. We, meaning me, meaning you, have to help me. So the 1540 is marketed as features an expansive soundstage with clear extended highs and warm bass for professional engineers, musicians, and audiophiles. I find that a little troubling because if it's extended highs and warm bass, it's not neutral. Then you're talking about a V shape, correct? And if you're talking about a V shape, then that means it's not really for professional engineers, and it's not for maybe for musicians, but I think musicians want a more neutral sound. But it certainly might be for audiophiles. And this gives me pause. Like, I don't want to spend money on a pair of headphones that the company itself is not marketing as a neutral sounding headphone. Then there's the SRH 440. It says optimized for monitoring and accurate listening, offering professional sound quality and comfort. Okay. The other two that I was looking for are the 840 and the 940. The 840 says it's studio recording and critical listening with rich bass and clear mid-range and extended highs. Once again, that's not neutral. The 940s, premium headphones for professional audio engineers and studio talent. That's a very vague statement. So if I click on it, this is the further commentary that Shure has about it. These headphones deliver accurate response from across the entire audio spectrum for smooth, high-end extension with tight bass. Superior transient response provides minimal distortion. The collapsible, lightweight design, blah, blah, blah. And when I go online, I've done a little bit of research on the 940s, there are people who love them, and then there's a lot of people who hate these headphones for their build quality. Well, for about $300, we can find it for cheaper. If it's neutral, then that's all that really matters, especially if it can compete with the Neumanns, which theoretically compete with the Mr. Speakers, which are significantly more expensive. So, it's like that old mathematical problem. A equals B, B equals C, so A equals C, right? So if you can get a Mr. Ethers sound for $300, it doesn't really matter if the build quality is not superior. You can learn to be very careful with a pair of headphones that compete with $1,300 pair of Mr. Speakers Ethers if you buy them brand new. $1,500, something like that. I don't know their prices anymore. So this is the conundrum that I have, and so I'm asking for your input because all of you are involved in this process, and I really want to make the wisest decision. Excuse me. I want to make the wisest decision financially for me. That's very important, but also the wisest decision for you because I want to make sure I'm catering to what the majority of you want to listen to. And if this comparison after the Mr. Speakers, if there's nothing else, then I think it's an unfair comparison to compare it to the HD 700s or the 800s or the EMUs because those are vastly different types of headphones. They're not neutral. So tell me which one the majority of you would prefer, either the Atom Audio SP5, the Shure 1540, the Shure 940. And those are the three that I'm looking at right now. But if you come up with a fourth one and say, aha, this is another one, then I'll take a look at it. Here's the thing. I have to stick to a budget. The most I am willing to pay is the Atom Audio SP5, $499. That is the most I'm willing to pay. Because if the majority of you say the Atom Audio, then I'm going to do my very best to try to find it at a much lower price. And if I can't, then I'm going to have to really think and ruminate about if I'm willing to pay up to the MSRP for the Atom. I'll have to do a lot more research and justify that. As you know, I keep telling people don't pay the MSRP, and I have to justify paying the MSRP for such an expensive pair of headphones. The 1540s can be had for cheaper. 940s, definitely I can find for cheaper. Those three, okay? So maximum $500, maximum. And if you recommend something that is $500, I am not going to jump on it. I'm going to, it's going to be a very slow process for me to actually say yes. It's going to be hesitant yes to something like that. Give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Tell me if this is even worth it. If it's not worth it, if you tell me like these headphones aren't really all that neutral, so it wouldn't help us, that's fine. I'm happy not going out and spending money. I'm happy not trying to track these things down. I would love to hear from you in the next couple of days. And if it's only one person who comments, then, it's only one person who comments, and their opinion is going to have some impact. But if I could get, there's 72 subscribers now. And if I can get 72 to comment, that'd be great. But if I can get half of you to comment and give me your opinions, that would be really helpful. So if you can participate, that would be great. I appreciate your time. Later today, I think I'm going to be able to do the comparison between the Ethers and the Neumanns. Stay tuned for that. Have a wonderful morning. Hey, it's Friday. The week is over. I hope you enjoy your Friday. I hope it just smooths into your weekend and you have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you later.